Hi! In today's video, we're going to see how to quickly take a video with the Pocket 3. We will kind of go in detail, but I'll try to be as quick as possible. So, first thing you have to do to take a video is to flip the screen to start the camera. So, by doing this, it power on the camera, and then you can see the result on the screen. Actually, there's something with the gimbal, it points toward me. So if I want to set it to the other side, there is that little joystick over here. I can triple tap it, tuk, 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 and then the camera reverse side. If you move the camera into a direction and you want to recenter it, you can, if you would like, you can use the joystick to keep moving it, but you can also double tap it just like that to recenter it. So that's how you can use the gimbal. But if you want to start a video, the first thing you need to do is to make sure you are into video mode. So when you click here on the lower left corner, you can see that there is that film logo, but you might be on photo, on panorama, or those kind of things. You must select video mode. There's also the low light, which is also a video mode, but is most likely designed for low light. You will see that the normal video mode quite operate very well in low light too, but low light mode operate even better in low light. There's also the mode over here, slow motion. This one will record video only, no audio, and will record at a higher frame rate that will automatically be transferred to 30 or 24 frames per second, depending on the settings that you want to use. That we don't see over here. So that's by default 30 frames per second, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, let's come back to that video mode. Now that you are on that mode, the only thing you have to do to start a recording is to press the record button. Just like that. And now the camera is recording everything. And when you're done, well, you just have again to press on the record button to stop that recording. But there's some settings that might be interesting to see for the video mode. So the first settings that we will see is by swiping up on the video screen. And from here, there's three things that you can choose. There is the resolution over here, so you can choose between 1080p HD, 2.7K, or 4K. And down here, there you can choose the frame rate. So we can go between 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, and 60 frames per second. If you go in HD, that's the very same thing. 2.7K, very same thing. There's a third setting on the upper right corner to change the resolution. So you can go on 1:1 or 16:9. There is no 4:3. And if you go in 1:1, you got 3K, 20, 160, and that's what you have. Then there's another page of settings that we can reach by swiping to the left. By default, it will be just like that. You only have two effects. There's a glamour effect. That is, it won't do nothing on the recording, on the file that you will record. But if you go on the Mimo app, you got some glamour effects that you can add. I never tried that thing. And here you can play with the noise reduction and with the sharpness. I leave it as default. But if you wanna go in the pro mode, you can adjust your exposure manually. So by default, as you can see, it's on auto, but you can swipe up and down to change the EV. So if you want something that looks darker because there is something that is too bright in the shot and that ruins it, you can modify the auto mode over here. And from here, you can select the maximum ISO that you authorize the camera to go. By default, it's from the minimum to the maximum, but again, if you don't want it to go at the maximum, well, you can change it right over there. Otherwise, you can also go in manual mode, and from here, you will be able still to select an automatic ISO, let's say, range, or the direct ISO, just as you wish. And you can also select the shutter speed manually. So that's something you can do over here. There's the exposure. Well, that's what we have just done. There's the white balance over here. That is actually on auto mode. But if I go in manual, you can select the temperature of your image manually. And then again, there's a glamour effect. Over here, there's the color that you can choose. You got D-Log, normal, HLG 10-bit, D-Log 10-bit again, and we go in circle. I personally only use the normal one because I'm colorblind and I don't want to play with the color correction of a D-Log. But if you want to go D-Log, that's here that you can do it. There's the focus mode. There's a continuous one. That is probably the one that will be the most popular, but you can go on single, so you can select a point and it will stay there. You can select where you want to focus by pointing with your finger on the screen. So that's a way to do it. And there's also the product showcase. So if you want to focus on a device instead of a face, that's where you want to go. Let's stay on continuous for the moment. And here, what is this one is the very same settings that we have in the non-pro mode. You can also have access to this microphone. You have a few more options over here. And for the rest, you also got very interesting. You got the joystick to move the gimbal, as we have seen. But over here, there is 2 mode for your gimbal. So if we go over here, there's the follow mode. So what the follow mode do? See, if I'm going to the left, it goes to the left, to the right, goes to the right. If I want to point up, it point up, and if I point down, it point down. So it really follow everything except for the level. This will always remain level. There's something else, however, that we can do. If for some reason I want to set the camera like that, but still pointing up, well, actually I could still use the joystick, but if I was doing it while filming, I could just press and hold the joystick and see what it does. If I hold the joystick, it remain balanced over here. And if I release, now it follow. I can double press to go back in front. There is also another mode that will kind of do about the same thing, but you just, the tilt lock. This one will always remain level again, but this time I don't need to press on the joystick to keep the level. Now if I want to change it, I need to use the joystick, and oops, now as you can see, it will follow. So I really need to use the joystick to change it. But for the rest, if I go left, if I go right, point, no, not point down, this level also, it always remain level. So it's the only difference. It's for the tilt lock. And finally, there's a last mode over here, which is the FPV. And this one will follow everything. So let's, whoops, not triple tap, double tap. I just wanted to recenter it. This one, very same principle. point down, follow, point up, follow. I realize it's also quicker to follow. And now you see if I go on the side, it doesn't remain balanced. It really follow all of your movement, except if you press and hold the joystick. Now again, it will keep this balance, but and this one also if you hold. But when you release, it will follow everything. So that's another mode, and there is also here the rotational speed. So if I go, let's say, on fast, you see if I move fast like this, it will follow quite quickly. And actually I will just move back. It will be more easier to see if I stay on follow. See, still it moves quickly. But if I go in slow mode, you see that there's much more delay before it hand the movement. So it's just more smooth. Then there is another thing that is important to see, and it's right here. It's the face tracking feature. When you set that to on, it is programmed to, let's say that I point it to my face, it will, as you can see, track my face. So now even if I drop it over here, it will always follow my face wherever I go. So that's the face tracking. That's a great feature. You can also here, when you go, sorry that I did go too fast, right there, when you hit that, there's also a dynamic framing that is interesting to use, because this one can not only track face, but can also track object. So for this one, you can use the joystick to select what you want to track. So let's say that in this example, I select my face. Well, it will do the very same thing. It will follow my face. But if I press again on it and go to select something else, let's say, for example, that I select this pen over here. Now it follow the pen, and unfortunately I reached the end of the gimbal, but now as you can see, it follow the pen. It's a small device, but that's what it does. And there is finally one other one, which is the spin shot. So let's say that I go in 180, it will point up, and when you hit the joystick, it will do that kind of rotation. You can also do it in 90 degrees. That's the 180 degrees. When you hit it again, it will again do that kind of rotation. So that's something else that you can use. You don't have to do it absolutely upward. You can also do that into that direction, so that will create a movement just like this one. And finally, there's also the zoom that you can use by sliding this guy over here. It's a numerical zoom. That's not something that you really want to use. You can do that in post-production. That will do about the very same thing. But if you don't zoom over here, you will have the option to zoom. But if you zoom here, well, you have zoom, so you don't have the option anymore to not zoom. You can also zoom by tapping over here and then use the joystick to zoom in and out. So that's pretty much how you can film with the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. There's one last feature that I almost forgot, and it's that one. This one will change the shooting orientation. So This is in landscape and this is in portrait. Logically, if you want to use that feature, you will flip your screen just like that and hit continue to not shut down the camera, and now it shoots in vertical mode. Otherwise, well, it's pretty much that's it. You can turn off the camera by turning the screen in that position, and well, this is how you film with the DJI Pocket 3. I hope this video was helpful, and if you want to have the full tutorial about this camera, please see the video on the upper right corner. So again, I hope this was helpful. Take care, and I'll see you in another video. See ya!